Loyalty is something most people consider a strength. You are loyal to your commitments, to the people that you love, to your word, and that has served you well in every single area of your life. But there is a version of loyalty that most people never examine. And it is the one that keeps capable, driven women stuck longer than anything else. You are loyal to beliefs, to old stories about yourself, to conclusions you drew years ago about what you are capable of, what your body does and does not respond to, what has worked and has not worked for you. And some of the loyalty is costing you more than you realize, quietly and consistently, underneath every effort that you have made. So in this video, I want to show you 3 specific loyalties that keep high-achieving women stuck in their bodies. Not because they are not trying, but because they are loyal to the wrong things. Let me ask you something honestly. When you think about areas of your health where you feel most stuck, the consistency that never holds, the result that never quite matched the effort, the feeling that your body just does not respond to the way other women do. What story do you tell yourself about and why? Most women I work with land in the same place. This is just how I am. I have always been like this. Maybe this is just what my body does. Those stories feel true. They feel like self-acknowledgement. They feel like honesty about your own limits. But what if they are not the truth about who you are? What if they are conclusions you drew during a hard season? When the conditions were wrong, when the approach was wrong, the tools were wrong, and you have been staying loyal to those conclusions ever since. You may have already sensed this. The version of yourself that could not stay consistent 3 years ago is not necessarily the version of yourself sitting here now. But the story has stayed. And as long as you are loyal to it, it shapes everything you try, everything you expect, and everything you conclude when things do not work. You are not stuck because who you are. You are stuck because of who you decided you were in a season that has already passed. Hi, I'm Tian. I help high-achieving women identify what is actually running their health, not just habits on the surface, but the beliefs underneath them. Over a decade of doing this work in my own life first, and then with the women carrying enormous loads in every single area of their life, the patterns that I see most clearly is this. The most stubborn obstacles are almost never about effort. They are about loyalty to old stories, to outdated versions of ourselves that run quietly underneath everything until someone finally names them. Here is the thing about a belief that you have held for a long time. It does not announce itself as a belief. It just feels like the truth. You do not think, I have decided to believe my body does not respond. You simply experience your body as one that does not respond. You do not think, I have concluded I cannot stay consistent. You just experience yourself as someone who cannot. The belief is invisible because it is old and outdated. It was formed during a period when something was not working. The approach was wrong. The conditions were difficult. And the tools were the wrong ones for what you needed for. And from the failure of those circumstances, you drew a conclusion about yourself and then stayed loyal to it long after the circumstances has changed. This is not a flaw. It is how beliefs work. And the problem is not that you form the conclusions. The problem is that nobody helped you examine whether it is still true and whether the loyalty to it is still serving you. The most capable women I work with are not stuck because of their circumstances. They are stuck because of what they concluded about themselves during the harder seasons. Think about a map that was drawn 20 years ago. It was accurate when it was made. It represented real roads, real landmarks, and real terrain. But the roads change. Some has closed, new ones has opened. The map does not update itself. If you are navigating with a 20-year-old map, you will keep taking routes that no longer exist and missing the ones that have opened since. Not because you are a bad navigator, but because you are working with outdated information as if it were current. Your old beliefs were accurate maps for an earlier version of you. The terrain has changed. The map has not. 3 specific loyalties, 3 outdated maps. And not one of them is actually a truth about who you are now. Loyalty number 1. This is just how I am. This one is the oldest and the deepest. It sounds like I have never been consistent. I've always struggled with this. I'm not someone who can maintain it long term. This feels like self-awareness. But look carefully at where they come from. Most of them were formed during a period when the approach was not working, when the conditions were not right, when you are applying the wrong tools to the wrong problem. And from the failures of those tools, you drew conclusions not about the tools, but about yourself. Think about a child who struggles to read. They do not conclude they cannot read. They just keep on trying, finding new ways. Somewhere along the way, adults stop giving themselves the same grace. When the approach fails, we decide something about ourselves. And then we stay loyal to that verdict. What I see consistently in women who finally break out of this is that what they called their nature was actually just a result of the wrong condition. The moment the conditions change, the body they thought was theirs to struggle with started responding in ways that they have stopped expecting. That is not something you arrive at alone. It requires someone who can see the difference between a conclusion that is true and one that was once true in circumstances that no longer exist. The work has been consistent. The conclusion drawn from it, that is what has never been questioned. Loyalty number 2. If I try harder, it will change. This one is particularly common in high-achieving women because effort has been the answer to almost everything else. You work harder in school and the grades have improved. You push harder in your career and you advance. So when the body is not responding, the conclusion is logical. I must not be trying hard enough yet. So you add more sessions, you make the plans stricter, you push further, you wake up even earlier, commit even harder, and still the body does not respond the way the effort should produce. Not because you are not trying hard enough, but because trying harder inside an approach that does not fit your body does not fix the approach. It just depletes you faster inside it, and the belief that effort is the missing variable keeps you working harder in exactly the wrong direction. And the more you push without getting the results, the more story from loyalty number 1 gets confirmed. This must just be how I am now. The commitment was never in question, and direction is not something you find by pushing harder. It requires understanding what is specifically not working and why, which is a completely different kind of work. Pushing harder inside wrong momentum does not build momentum. It deepens a conclusion about yourself that was never accurate. Hey, listen, I appreciate you. And if you're watching this and something I've shared is resonating with you, I want to ask you to do 2 simple things. First, hit the like button because it tells YouTube that this conversation matters, so it can reach more women who feel stuck in their body, their energy, and their consistency and think that they are the problem. And second, subscribe, because on this channel, I'm going to talk about things that most people don't explain clearly. How to build strength without burning yourself out, how to lead your body instead of fighting it, and how to stop relying on willpower and start creating consistency that actually lasts, and how energy, identity, physiology quietly shape the life that you're living. So if you are someone who's tired of trying harder and ready to understand your body and yourself differently, then this channel is for you. So go ahead, like and subscribe. And now back to the video. Loyalty number 3. I have invested too much to stop now. This one is the quietest, and it is the most expensive. You have been following this approach for months. You have spent money on it and time. You have told people that you are doing it. You have put real time, real energy, and real pieces of yourself into this direction, and it is not working. Not in the way that it should. But walking away feels like admitting that all of it was wasted, so you stay. Not because the approach is right, but because you have already put so much in it that leaving feels like failure. Every day, you stay in a direction that is not working. You are spending today's energy on a decision that belonged to yesterday. The investment does not grow by continuing it. It just delays the day you finally move towards something that actually fits. Leaving the wrong direction is not failure. It is the moment you finally stop paying for a decision that was made before you had the information that you have now. But most women cannot see that from inside the loyalty. It takes someone outside of it to show them the map they are holding is actually costing them. Staying with something that is not working is not commitment. It is the most expensive loyalty of all. So 3 loyalties, all of them feels like the truth. None of them are facts about who you are. They are conclusions drawn in harder seasons from the failures of the wrong approaches, confirmed over and over by pushing harder through the same approach. And here is what makes them so difficult to see on your own. From inside a belief you have held over years, it does not look like a belief. It looks like reality. And it looks like honest self-awareness. It looks like the truth about your body, your capacity, and your consistency. The women I work with who finally break out of these loyalties are not the ones who have more willpower or found better information. They are the ones who finally had someone outside their experience look at what they are holding and show them the difference between what was true about them and what they simply decided was true. That is a very different kind of work. And it is not something that happens through another program or another challenge or another attempt at going harder at the same direction. Which of these 3 loyalties has been running longest? And what has staying loyal to it actually cost you? Sit with that, honestly. Drop your answer in a comment and I'll be reading every single one. If this landed, if you recognize one or more of those loyalties in yourself, I would love to invite you to my Peak Performance Challenge. 3 days where we stop working harder inside the same direction and start looking at what has actually been running underneath the effort. The beliefs, the old stories, what your body has been asking for, that the approach was never given it. Not more information to apply on your own. The kind of clarity that comes from having someone finally look at what you are holding and show you what it is actually saying. The link is in the description, and I would love to see you inside. You do not need to be less loyal. You need to be loyal to something that is actually worth your commitment. So thank you for watching this video. Feel free to check out these two videos, and I'll see you in the next one.